I found out from TMZ literally 2 hours ago that I have been subpoenaed. I'm not crying, you're crying. You were a bad person. Truly, that was that from the bottom of my heart. I think you and Ryan are bad people. There is nobody involved. Nobody has ever been involved in making me come to that conclusion.
Just 2 hours ago, Candace Owens found out, not from an official court server, not through a lawyer's polite phone call, but from TMZ of all places, that she'd been subpoenaed by none other than Blake Lively's legal team. TMZ, the celebrity gossip factory that thrives on half-baked exclusives and breathless scandal headlines, got the scoop before Candace even had the paperwork in her hands. And while Candace didn't shed a single tear over the stunt, you can bet Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds probably should be. Because in trying to weaponize the courts and the press in one go, they exposed exactly how flimsy their entire Hollywood castle really is.
So they went with this headline. It says that Perez Hilton and me were subpoenaed, and then the ... working with Baldoni.
This is the same Blake and Ryan who've spent years polishing their brand into an Instagram fairy tale. Blake playing the flawless, all-American sweetheart with the effortless hair and the prim smiles. Ryan pretending to be the internet's favorite prankster husband with his scripted, relatable quips and gin ads disguised as jokes. Together, they built this shiny, untouchable image. Power couple so curated that every family photo felt like a Vogue spread. But one critical headline, one whiff of real backlash, and suddenly their perfect facade needs the nuclear option. Drag Candace Owens and Perez Hilton into court to scare the internet into silence. Here's the kicker. Candace hadn't even spoken about Blake for half a decade. She didn't build her brand on tearing down Blake's carefully photoshopped empire. She's not camped out on Reddit, whispering conspiracies about shampoo lines or squeaky clean marriages. She mentioned Blake once in passing, a throwaway moment buried in years of commentary, and now she's front and center in some bizarre legal plot cooked up by Blake's high-priced crisis managers. It's laughable if you step back and really look at it. A pair of multi-millionaire celebrities, dripping in privilege and PR handlers, so rattled by ordinary people daring to talk about them that they call TMZ first, before they even bother with due process.
That's what it's a fishing expedition because she wants to know now who's talking trash about her. Wake up, sweetheart. It's everyone. Everyone dislikes you.
They didn't want to win in court. They wanted the headline, Candace Owens subpoenaed, splashed across the internet to scare everyone else into shutting up. But instead of looking powerful, they look terrified. Terrified that the gloss is wearing off. Terrified that the internet isn't buying the good guy, good girl act anymore. And terrified, most of all, that people like Candace won't be bullied into silence by a stack of subpoenas and some breathless gossip rag eager to be Hollywood's favorite lapdog.
Having him tell me, okay, my lawyer, oh, you're not involved in this lawsuit. Ha, joke's on you, Noah. Joke's on you, because now you've got to read by subpoena and figure out what happens next. I mean, this is crazy times, you guys. It's like we're living in a simulation.
The funniest part? This heavy-handed stunt didn't expose some grand, sinister plot against Blake Lively. It just exposed how insecure she really is, a celebrity so allergic to unflattering truths that she'd rather weaponize lawyers and paparazzi blogs than admit her problems are of her own making. If anything, all Blake did was prove that the real conspiracy is the one happening inside her own PR war room, the same war room that forgot one basic rule. You can't scare people into silence when the receipts are real and the public's already tuned in to watch the meltdown in 4K. The whole mess reads like a parody. The kind of scandal you'd expect from a cheesy tabloid drama, not a polished, primed Hollywood darling who spent years cultivating the image of a flawless fairy tale princess. Blake Lively's team didn't even bother to play by the rules. Instead, they handed TMZ the subpoena story on a silver platter before Candace ever got served, ensuring the gossip machine had time to craft its breathless gotcha headline.
Perez Hilton, Candace Owens, and Andy Senior have all been subpoenaed to turn over any and all communications with Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer parties.
In their fantasy, the moment the TMZ article dropped, the world would gasp. Candace Owens exposed, the mastermind behind a vast anti-Blake conspiracy. But they forgot who they were dealing with. Candace is no Hollywood extra in their stage play. She's the type who drags the whole spotlight back into her own hands and dares you to keep watching. So she did exactly that. She went live, unapologetic, receipts laid out like dominoes, smirking at the absurdity that this A single heart eyes emoji she tossed at Blake's engagement ring 5 years ago is now the star evidence in Blake's supposed smear campaign. Imagine being so wrapped up in your own celebrity bubble that you twist a throwaway emoji into proof of a vast dark alliance working to topple your empire. And while Candace was laughing it off with millions watching, Blake's paranoia ballooned into a full-blown legal circus. What started as one stunt subpoena quickly snowballed into a fishing expedition, so over the top it would make a reality TV producer blush. Suddenly, YouTubers like Andy Sr., a guy who literally just makes commentary videos, were being slapped with subpoenas too, dragged into this performance as if they'd been plotting in some secret basement lair with Candace and Perez Hilton. And it didn't stop there. Blake's lawyers started demanding everything: emails, DMs, back-channel rumors, even innocent jokes about her shampoo line. Yes, shampoo. Blake Lively, once the face of the effortless cool girl aesthetic, apparently believes that memes about her hair products are part of a sinister plot to tear down her carefully managed brand. It's laughable, but also pathetic.
That we are not going to allow her to have access to every text message and email pertaining to her and Ryan Reynolds and Wayfarer Studios because she watched me live say, now that I'm interested in this story, my interest began on January 25th.
The Hollywood elite so convinced of their own untouchable status that when reality pokes holes in their glossy PR stories, they scream conspiracy instead of looking in the mirror. Blake's paranoia didn't just rope in media figures. She cast the net so wide that random Reddit users in Texas woke up to legal threats because they dared share unflattering tea about her squeaky clean image. And while she demands digital receipts from complete strangers, Ryan Reynolds sits comfortably behind the curtain, letting TMZ do the heavy lifting while he fires off stale gin jokes like the internet's too dumb to connect the dots. But Candace flipped it all upside down. In real time. No hush-hush damage control. No trembling statements from a lawyer. She cracked the whole stage script open and handed the audience a front-row seat to Blake's unraveling ego. Because when you try to weaponize gossip blogs and scare the internet into silence over an emoji, a shampoo meme, and a handful of honest opinions, you don't look powerful, you look desperate. And for Blake Lively, whose entire identity hinges on being the woman everyone's supposed to envy, that is the biggest crack of all. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's self-appointed king of stale Deadpool quips and slick gin commercials no one actually buys twice, is nowhere to be found when the real dirt hits the fan. The same man who built an entire brand pretending to be the internet's favorite wisecracking husband, the relatable guy who roasts Hugh Jackman on Twitter for clout, suddenly morphs into a ghost the second his wife's legal meltdown threatens their carefully staged fairy tale. But don't think for a second he's innocent in this circus. While Ryan's out here tweeting jokes about aviation gin and pretending he's just another goofy dad next door, TMZ's running damage control faster than he can slap his name on another bland mobile ad. Who do you think feeds TMZ their angles? Who benefits when the gossip site breathlessly parrots Blake's victim narrative before the ink on the subpoenas is even dry? Ryan's not cracking jokes in the group chat. He's cracking the whip behind the curtain, making sure the official story is everywhere before anyone has time to check the facts.
To the judge's order earlier this month, allowing Blake to take discovery in order to uncover the alleged lengths, if any, that Baldoni's side may have gone to in working with notable anti-Blake content creators as part of the alleged smear campaign.
Too bad the universe, or at least the part of the internet that still thinks for itself, wasn't buying it for a second. Candace didn't just shrug off their sloppy stunt. She went live, nuked Blake's PR fairy tale in real time, and invited millions of people to see exactly how fake and desperate the whole charade really was. In minutes, Blake's master plan went from "we'll scare them silent" to "whoops, everyone's laughing." And the meltdown didn't stop there. Blake's so deep in her own paranoia that she's not content with a few subpoenas and some leaked headlines. No, she wants everything. Every stray message, every random tip, every offhand rumor someone might have whispered over a Starbucks latte about her brand cracking at the seams. She wants tens of thousands of emails dragged into court like they're national security secrets, including jokes about her hair products. Yes, hair products. Because in Blake's mind, a passing jab about her shampoo is apparently a vital clue in her fantasy conspiracy theory. She's so obsessed with patching the holes in her squeaky clean image that she's ready to bulldoze through basic journalistic protections, treating source confidentiality like it's an inconvenience instead of a cornerstone of press freedom. She doesn't care about truth. She cares about plugging leaks in a ship that's already halfway sunk. The irony? Every frantic headline, every overreaching subpoena, every desperate TMZ push just drags her deeper underwater. And somewhere behind that velvet curtain, Ryan Reynolds is crossing his fingers the internet keeps confusing his Deadpool mask with a personality, hoping nobody notices the puppet strings he's tugging while his wife's Hollywood fairy tale rots in broad daylight. And while Blake stomps around waving subpoenas, her husband tweets dad jokes and pretends nothing's happening. The irony is that Ryan, the guy who made millions pretending to be Deadpool, can't spin this disaster into a punchline big enough to distract from the fact that their untouchable couple brand is crumbling faster than his last rom-com. The more they leak to TMZ, the more people roll their eyes. It's not a smear campaign. It's just karma catching up with two celebrities who spent years manufacturing a plastic fairy tale for the cameras. At its core, this lawsuit is nothing but a fishing expedition. Blake wants to know who's talking trash, who's rolling their eyes at her carefully curated interviews, who's pointing out the cracks in her step-forward wife facade. But here's the thing. No conspiracy is needed when you do a good enough job tanking your own reputation.
And they say, hey, Candace, you should check out the metadata from the New York Times big publication about Justin Baldoni.
Blake's legal team demands messages from May 1st, 2024 onward, conveniently after the alleged smear campaign supposedly wrecked her brand. Make that make sense. If your image was already ruined, what are you fishing for now? Who's mocking your overpriced hair products on Reddit? Who's trading DMs about how your perfect couple act doesn't match reality? Imagine being so fragile that jokes about shampoo become legal evidence. Meanwhile, Candace isn't backing down an inch. She made it clear she'll hand over anything from before the lawsuit was filed, but no fishing through 10,000 emails so Blake can track down every anonymous tipster who dared to spill tea. Journalism still means something to Candace, and protecting sources matters more than stroking the ego of an actress who built an entire brand on flattering headlines and staged couple selfies. And let's not forget the sideshows. Blake's meltdown is global now. She's roping in French presidents, taking potshots at Candace's reporting about Brigitte Macron's hidden secrets, and turning her PR machine into a parody of itself. And while that circus rolls on, Meghan Markle pops up with her own staged bedtime stories, reminding everyone that Hollywood's elite all drink from the same cup of delusion. The same phony relatability, the same obsession with narrative control. Yet the internet is done pretending. Real journalists and independent voices are exposing every sloppy move in real time. When Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped receipts showing Blake's bullying tactics and backroom games, the fantasy that Blake was some helpless victim dissolved overnight. She was the puppet master all along, and now that the strings are tangled, she's trying to spin the mess as sabotage. But the receipts don't lie. This isn't a grand conspiracy. It's just what happens when your squeaky clean act gets punctured by the truth. Real people got fed up and spoke out. Scott Swift, Taylor's dad, whistleblowing from the inside. YouTubers calling out diva behavior no PR team could bury. None of this needed a plot, just common sense and an internet tired of Hollywood's fake fairy tales. And Ryan Reynolds? He's still lurking behind the curtain, letting TMZ run interference while he pushes stale gin ads and tweets about aviation jokes. The same man who made millions pretending to be an irreverent rebel is now part of an establishment that's using subpoenas and smear pieces to silence any voice that questions them. It's pathetic, and it's not working. Every stunt makes them look more fragile, more petty, and more out of touch. The curtain's pulled back now. The empire is cracking. No staged photo shoot or witty Deadpool promo can glue it back together. Blake Lively's downfall is here, not because of some master plan, but because people finally stopped buying the lie. So here we are. Candace Owens holding the receipts, YouTubers refusing to fold, and the internet watching every desperate move with popcorn in hand. Blake thought she could bully the truth into silence, but every subpoena, every leaked headline, every meltdown only proves how fake her empire really is. And the collapse? Well, that's the best part. Stay tuned, because the next stage twist is probably already leaking while Ryan Reynolds rehearses another half-baked commercial to make everyone forget the House of Cards is burning to the ground. The story's not over, but Blake's fairy tale definitely is.